Social media has become huge, and like with anything else on this world, there is the good and the bad. In today's video, I would like to talk about my journey with social media and how I went from pretty much feeling addicted to it to now using it in a positive and healthy way. And also how you could do that too, as I will be sharing practical tips and tools I use, such as time restrictions, which apps I use, and all that kind of stuff. Step one for me was admitting to myself how bad my relationship with social media actually was at that point. And I find that to be a quite hard thing to do because it's become so normal to use social media a lot that it's hard to see what is healthy and what is not, because what most people are doing is not healthy. And that's why I didn't realize that I wanted to change something earlier, because it seemed so normal what I was doing in comparison to the people around me. The thing is, normal is not always right. In the 1960s, there were ads that made sugar seem healthy and good for you, and most people weren't aware of the negative effects of it. Same goes for social media. Just because nowadays maybe the people around us use it for 10 hours a day doesn't mean that that's a good approach. And I'm pretty sure that in 2070, let's say, the people will look back at us nowadays and think that our unnecessary daily intake of social media is crazy, same as we see the people in the 1960s who thought that sugar was good for losing weight. And that's why when I say that I felt addicted to social media, I don't use that word lightly. Most people might not be diagnosed, but being addicted means being physically and mentally dependent on a particular substance. And if we really look around, I think most people feel that way. Step two for me was the social media detox. I feel like in general in my life, whenever something starts feeling unhealthy or addicting, I need to cut it out of my life completely to then be able to build up and slowly build up a sustainable way of approaching it. I remember with like 12 or 13, I was eating a lot of sugar, and at some point my body started to feel addicted to it because that's what sugar does. I remember thinking at that point, like, this doesn't seem healthy, maybe I should change something. And so I tried. I would go 2 days without having any, and then I would give in again. And then at some point I realized that approach was not working. I had to quit it completely to get out of this habit that had become so loud. And why I'm sharing the story of my sugar addiction when I was 12 is because I think the same goes for social media. At some point, social media felt addicting for me. I would wake up in the morning, the first thing I would do was check my phone. Any moment in the day where I didn't know what to do with myself, I would instantly go on Instagram or YouTube or anything. And whenever I didn't have access to that, I felt lost and I didn't know what to do with myself. So step three after going through my social media detox was finding the balance. I knew that I still really enjoyed social media and the benefits that it gave me. If you think about it, we get so many amazing opportunities through it that our parents or grandparents could have never dreamed of. And I started thinking of ways and structures I could do that without falling into this habit of addiction that it presents. For that, I had to go and think about step four, which was, why was I using social media so much up until that point? And there were four main reoccurring themes that I realized. Number one was boredom, or rather not wanting to face boredom. In the moments where I didn't know what to do with myself, social media was a quick fix. Number two is the habit of comparing myself to other people. Especially at a younger age, I feel like it was quite addicting at some point to continuously look at other people who seem to have a very perfect life and think to myself, why am I not doing this? Why don't I have that? Why am I not this person? And then also this weird interest we kind of get to continuously want to know what these people are up to, which is quite weird when you think about it, but in those moments it makes sense. In my last video, I summarized a book by Napoleon Hill, which is Success Habits, and at some point he also talks about the main reasons of failure, and one of them is too much curiosity in other people's business. Number three was to escape or even numb myself, I guess, to a certain point. We all have negative thoughts and negative situations in our lives, and social media can be a great fix to not have to face those things and continuously distract ourselves. And then the last one, the habit of laziness. It's easier to scroll on Instagram than to pick up a book and read it, and I think that's something that just everyone will have to realize at some point, like, how do we really want to spend our time, because we only have a limited amount of time. on this world. That sounds dramatic, but it's really true. So step 5 for me was making rules. If you think about it, social media is literally designed by people who know the human mind and are wanting to create something that is addicting. And I found that for myself, living in a society that uses social media as much as we do, and me still wanting to continue using it to a certain extent, I can't not make any clear rules for myself and still not fall into that trap of addiction. So there are 2 general rules that I've made for myself that I never change. Number 1 is that I have turned off all my notifications on my phone, so I only see what's happening when I actually open the app. And then the second thing is that I try to use my phone as late in the day as possible. So now onto the details. There are 3 major platforms that I use. Number 1 is Instagram. If I take away the negative things I just mentioned, Instagram is still a really cool platform to just see what's going on in the world, engage with people, see what your friends are up to, and also using it as an outlet for photography, which I really enjoy. So how do I find the balance? What I do is every other day when I feel like I want to post a picture or just see what's going on, I go on the app and I will post that picture. I will check my DMs, I will just scroll through my feed a little bit, I will check my stories and maybe reply to some comments. And then when I come to the point where I would now just randomly start scrolling because I don't know what else to do, I delete the app. I just delete it. That might sound like a hassle for some, but for me it honestly really works, because whenever I want to use it, I know that I have to go to the app store and download it and log in again, and that hassle only makes sense when I'm actually really inspired to use it. And then during the rest of the day where I just constantly would be using it, I simply don't have access to it. The second big app I use is WhatsApp. This is pretty much how I stay in contact with all the people in my life, but also here I've realized that it's not always necessary to reply to messages instantly. And I think it's become normal to do that, especially in our generation, and if you don't immediately reply, you're ghosting the person or ignoring them. But if I'm out at a dinner with my family, for example, I don't need to instantly reply to a message that is about an event the coming week, let's say. So there's this tool on WhatsApp where you can mark the messages as unread so you don't forget them, and I use that a lot. And then I just reply to them in the evening or the coming day properly. Obviously, if I get a message that's urgent, I will instantly reply. I'm just talking about general messages that we get throughout the day. And then the last platform I use is YouTube. Obviously, I post videos on here, but other than that, I also just think it's a really cool platform to be creative on and look at other people who are doing the same. At some point, I realized that it had also become something I was doing to simply escape boredom or negative thoughts, because oftentimes I was watching people not because I really enjoyed them or their content, but just because I didn't know what else to do with myself in that moment. At that point, I was subscribed to so many different random people, it was crazy. So I took one day and I unsubscribed all the people where I didn't really enjoy their content, and in the end there were only a few left, but those people were really creating something that left me feeling better than that left me feeling better than how I felt before I was watching the video. Step 6 for me was to think about how did I really want to spend my time now moving forward. As I wasn't using social media to fill up my time throughout the entire day, there was so much more time left that I didn't have before, and I really had to think about how did I want to use those moments so that they would fulfill me, so I wouldn't feel that need anymore to go back into that habit or that addiction of social media. I realized I had to come up with things that would give me the opportunity to also sometimes in some moments distract myself or escape from something, but maybe more positive things than to just randomly scroll on Instagram. And those can be different things for different people, and they can also still oftentimes be things we do online, because the internet brings so many amazing opportunities. For example, I really enjoy doing an online course about something that I love, or maybe watching a series that's really funny, or then something that doesn't have anything to do with the internet, such as reading or painting. The last thing I learned is to take it easy. I'm not perfect at this and I don't have to be. Some days I enjoy watching random stuff on YouTube the entire day or replying to my friends on WhatsApp the whole time. It's not about quitting social media for me, it's more about using it in the moments where it benefits me, and sometimes using it the entire day can benefit me. So yeah, that was all for my video this time. I really hope that you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out some other videos of mine. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.